Today, I want you to imagine that you, an English language learner, are sitting with some English-speaking friends. You're sitting together, everybody's talking about their hopes and their dreams and what they want for the future. And you are able to join in the conversation a little. You can say, I want to travel to Asia, or I want to have a large family. But as you continue in the conversation, you realize that your language isn't as high as the others in the group when you're talking about these deep things about your personal life. So today I want to give you a heads up for your next conversation like this with some English-speaking friends. We're going to talk about your bucket list today. Thanks for joining me. Hi, I'm Phil from Mayak here in the Czech Republic. So today we want to talk about your bucket list. What's on your bucket list? But first, what is a bucket list? There was a popular movie called The Bucket List quite a few years ago, and it's a common term in English, especially recently, to talk about what's on your bucket list. Well, we first have to go back a little bit and look at an idiom in English. This idiom is to kick the bucket. So if you kick the bucket, it means you die, simply. I guess we could say it's a creative way to say that you have died or someone has died. So when we talk about a bucket list, we talk about what is the list of things that you want to do before you die. What are some crazy, interesting, important, helpful things that you can do before you die? There's a list of things maybe in your head that you'd like to accomplish before the end of your life. These conversations are usually interesting or adventure-packed, thinking about what would lie in front of us in the future. We could probably narrow down the types of things on a bucket list to a few different categories. There are probably more than a few categories, but I've come up with a few categories that we can kind of talk through today. There's adventure or action or experiences. There's personal growth. There is helping others. And there's making amends. Making amends means saying sorry and asking forgiveness for things that happened recently or a long, long time ago. This is making amends. So today in this video, I want to just take you through an imaginary conversation. What would people talk about? What are the things on their list? And then how would you or somebody else respond? What would be normal things to talk about? And while we do this, we are going to just learn tons and tons of phrases today that you can put into many different conversations, even if they're not bucket list. So you're sitting together with your friend, and your friend says, I would love to write a book before I die. I don't know what kind of book. I would love to be an author before I die. So you're sitting around the table, you're listening. What could you say? A couple different things. You could say, that sounds good. Or you could say, that's not for me, but good for you. That's not for me, but good for you. Another buddy across the table says, I want to get a tattoo before I die. That's on my bucket list. I want to get a tattoo. What could you respond to this person? One thing you could say, if you already have one, you say, been there, done that. Been there, done that. I've got one. That means I've already done that, I already have one, and I'm good. I don't want any more, so been there, done that. This is also a phrase you can use whenever somebody talks about something that you've already done, and you're finished with it. You don't want to do that experience anymore. You can say, been there, done that. And the friend that wants the tattoo can look at somebody else and say, hey, do you want to go with me? Let's get one together. And they can say, I don't know. I'm on the fence about that one. I'm on the fence. That means you can imagine somebody standing on a fence and they don't know which way they're going to tip by standing on the fence. So when somebody's thinking about a decision to make and they just don't know which they'll choose, they can say, I'm on the fence. So your friend can say, I'm on the fence about the tattoo. I don't know if I want one. Bucket lists aren't all about adventure, action, or writing a book. Sometimes they're about making amends, saying sorry, asking forgiveness, like feeling at peace in your life. So you suggest that something on your bucket list is to forgive someone at work who has hurt you. They did wrong to you many years ago, and it's never been figured out. It's never been fixed. And you can tell there's a relationship problem. And you say, I want to forgive this person. And your friends have some different responses. Wow, that's good. Wow, that's good. Or somebody says, oh, I need to do that. I have been hurt by a couple of people in my life, and it has made me bitter. It's made me bitter. And I don't want that in my life. That's a good idea. And another friend just looks at you and says, I don't know. That's tough. That's tough. And in this situation, we can say that's tough because it's something that's really difficult. It's not an easy emotional thing to do to forgive somebody that has hurt you. And so some people respond and say, I don't know. That's tough. So to lighten the mood, a friend says, hey, who wants to go bungee jumping with me? That's probably something in the action adventure or some crazy experiences category. So who wants to go bungee jumping with me? Well, somebody says, been there, done that, but I'll do it again. Somebody else says, I'm all in. When are we going? I'm all in. That means I am completely committed to this idea. Let's do it. When are we going? And there's almost always somebody in the group that says, no way, that freaks me out. That freaks me out. I'm afraid of that. I don't want to do it. Sometimes bucket list items are a little more sentimental, and one thing some people choose to put on their bucket list is to let somebody know how special or important they are to that person. And this is important because we know that life is short, especially when we speak about a bucket list and kicking the bucket. We don't know how much time we have on the earth. So it's important to let people know that they are special to us. So a friend says, I need to take my dad to coffee, and we need to talk face to face, and I need to tell him to his face how important he is to me and what he has meant to my life. And I don't know how long he'll be here. So I need to take advantage of the time I have with him. I need to take advantage of the time we have together. And this means like we have this much time and I want to use it to the best of my ability to do important things. And I think your friends like this idea. So somebody says, oh, that's really cool. And somebody else says, I think I need to add that to my own list. Have you ever heard of the phrase, pay it forward? Pay it forward is a really interesting concept that got some more publicity and popularity quite a few years ago, at least in the United States. Pay it forward means that I have had kindness and love shown to me in certain ways, sometimes by people I know and sometimes by strangers. And so because I have this kindness that's been shown to me, I want to show kindness to others. And sometimes I do that to people I know and love, of course. But sometimes I can actually do a random act of kindness to a complete stranger. Grammatically, this is fun too, because we hear the passive voice here. I have had kindness done to me. And it's passive because sometimes I don't even know who is doing the kindness, but kindness was done to me. Kindness was shown to me. So now actively, I want to show kindness to others. And we can do that to strangers. So somebody at the table says, you know, before I die, I want to try one time to pay a complete stranger's bill. It would just be a random act of kindness. And remember, the word random means it's not specific. I'm not choosing a person. It's anybody, any act of kindness shown to anyone, because kindness doesn't hurt. So a random act of kindness means doing one kind thing to just somebody I see. So the next time he goes into a restaurant, he said he's going to take note of somebody in the room that looks like they could just use a break. Somebody that could use a break. And he's going to quietly talk to the waitress and say, I would like to pay for that person's meal. Anonymously, quietly, so that nobody knows who did it. And allow that person to see the joy. This is an interesting thing too, because when you do this, you not only affect the person, but you also affect maybe the waitress or waiter and other people who work in the restaurant who see the joy, confusion, and amazement that happens when a random act of kindness is done to a complete stranger. It's a cool thing to see. a friend will say to you while you're talking, I've never thought of that before. And another friend you have who's a little more cynical will say, that is excessive and unnecessary, because you don't get to see the reaction, and they'll never know that it was you. It's excessive. It's unnecessary. What do you think of these bucket list items? Are you more into the action-adventure bucket list items, or the interpersonal ones, or making amends? Maybe that's important for you in your life. Or there's probably a million other things that you could think of. I'm interested to know what's on your bucket list. Write below in the comments, and we can see what other people have on their bucket list. Thanks for joining me. I hope this gave you some hope and help on your English journey, and some tools you can use specifically in the next conversation you have. Whether it's about a bucket list or something completely different, I think these are some great phrases for you to use anytime today. Have a good one.